welcome into Wake and Take. It's your boy Jason, and we've got some football to talk about today. Today, I have been bit by the Underdog bug yet again. This Superflex tournament is about to close, and I have just been having too much fun doing it that I figured why not do one last time in the Superflex tournament. Go ahead and live stream it for you guys. We can talk a little bit of Superflex strategy. We'll look over my quarterback rankings. Now they're dynasty rankings, but we'll talk about that as well, just to kind of talk about how I view some of these quarterbacks in these Superflex drafts, as well as look through kind of my exposure, week 17 stuff, really just best ball strategy in general. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be informative. So go ahead, take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, so welcome in, everyone. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Thank you for tuning in. We've got some drafting to do. I'll go ahead and share my screen and enter this bad boy. And you guys, as always, feel free to tag along. I'm about to press join. This is the Puppy Butt Superflex, as we all know and love. I'm gonna fix my background as well. We don't look like Wake and Take right now. It doesn't look like Wake and Take at all. Okay. Here we go. I'm just going to enter 30 seconds per pick. Could you imagine if I pressed the 8 hour per pick? Hey, yo, I did share my location. Hold on. Try one more time here. Okay, I'm just going to refresh maybe. Could you imagine I set up this whole thing and then I can't even do it? Nice. We're in. So we need 11 people to join. So those of you watching, tuning in, I mean, it is literally an entirely empty draft room right now as we wait for this bad boy to fill. Go ahead and join up. It's only $5 for the Puppy Butt Superflex. We'll be talking through some quarterbacks and all that stuff. But before we get into it, I guess I do want to go ahead and let you guys know, you might as well start asking questions. I'll be answering questions all throughout the show as opposed to at the back of the show, since this will be a longer stream as usual. And yes, this is live FF Top Gun. So go ahead, join us. Good morning to you guys. But yeah, go ahead and ask your questions. Instead of doing it at the back of the show, we'll just kind of do it. There's a lot of lull periods in these drafts, as we all know and love. So I'll be happy to answer questions in between. But while we wait for this room to fill, why don't we go ahead and hop over to my exposure so far? So I've done 6 of these teams so far. This will be number 7, and I actually have an 8th slow draft going on right now. Just kind of busting them out whenever I feel like it. I know that's not a ton of teams, but, it's still a decent bit. And as you can see here, I'm still kind of going with the heavy wide receiver, even if it is less in this contest. I still think that those are kind of the guys that can, especially towards the end of the draft, just kind of get some fun dart throws. But then also, as you'll see with my exposure, I am taking kind of these shots on these later running backs. Dylan Laub, surprisingly, my most owned running back for some reason, him and Jalen Wright. Of course, Jalen Wright, we've talked about a lot on the show. I think that this is a very explosive running back that's going to see the field even with Devon Achane and Mostert out there. So I like taking a swing on him towards the end of these drafts. And then Dylan Laub, usually just because I keep getting not really the running back build that I want. And I like Dylan Laub this season, not necessarily as someone that will, of course, be like a workhorse or anything like that unless an injury happens. But I think that he's going to be viable in PPR, and that's what this is. So I think that, it's a decent floor for like my 5th running back usually. And we'll just kind of see what happens throughout the year. And then, of course, you guys know I can't quit Kyle Pitts. You guys know I have some high hopes in Troy Franklin, and his ADP is just real solid. I think he's going to have a pretty good year with Bo Nix. And then D-Hop, Will Levis stack. That's my favorite in this contest, actually. I just keep getting it because D-Hop is always there, as well as Will Levis. So those are kind of my most exposed players. And then we've got some 50%ers on Tez Walker, of course. We've talked about him a lot on this show. I think that he's going to be the deep field stretcher and a threat, really, on this Ravens offense. And that's perfect for best ball. It's absolutely perfect for best ball at his cost. Michael Penix, I'm taking shots on in Superflex, is kind of my 4th quarterback, just in case. Part of the reason I'm doing that is because I keep getting Kyle Pitts as well, so it's a little bit of correlation. And then you guys already know, Tyjae Spears, we've talked about a ton. I'm just targeting these Titans. Tony Pollard, I believe I also have some, like 33%. And then Trey Benson, Kamani Vidal, some rookie running backs that are epic. So that's where we're at here. Looks like the draft is about to start. So while that loads, I'll answer a couple questions. That's my exposure, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. FF Top Gun asks, would I rather have Nix or JJ as my 3rd quarterback? I mean, I like JJ McCarthy more. That is definitely how I'd answer this question. But also, the problem with having JJ McCarthy as your third quarterback is usually you don't have Justin Jefferson. Now, I am someone who's been drafting a lot of TJ Hawkinson, but and so that's fine if you get him. But as someone asks here in the chat, why do so many pros value having stacks and playoff week team correlations? Because this is a tournament. And the way to maximize your ceiling is to attack high scoring games, because generally that's going to lead to higher scoring fantasy assets. Now, this isn't like a bulletproof strategy, but it's like the easiest and most simple one to create a high floor and ceiling. And that's why we do it here. And anyway, we have made it. It is the 106. And you guys know me. You guys know what's probably going to happen here. Now, Anthony Richardson has the highest ADP. In fact, actually, no, we're going to get Anthony Richardson. We're going to do an Anthony Richardson draft. Although I should have done Stroud because I put Stroud on the thumbnail. That kind of could have been perfect. But in these, I keep getting CJ Stroud, so I kind of just want an Anthony Richardson build, and it works as well. So one reason to go with CJ Stroud is, of course, the Ravens-Texans stack for Week 17 that a lot of people are targeting. But one thing we do also know is that the Ravens have a really solid defense. And so it's not necessarily going to be that, like, it could end up being not that big of a shootout. I still think it is. But either way, the Colts have a really solid Week 17 matchup as well against the Tennessee Titans, a team that I've already mentioned in this show that I'm targeting and shown via my exposure. So I think that I could probably get an Anthony Richardson, Will Levis team pretty easily in this contest, and that's what we're going to hope for here. I don't know why, but in all of these, I haven't picked later than the 108. I keep getting I keep getting the 16, and I just keep going with Stroud. This time I felt like going with Anthony Richardson, just because it's fun. And as talking about Anthony Richardson, I do think he has, out of these quarterbacks, he has just as much of a shot to finish as the quarterback one. I know that's not a hot take at all by any means. A lot of people are there when it comes to Anthony Richardson. He just has such a high ceiling that I might as well just have some fun and take a swing with him. I will say I might be okay, and we'll definitely come across this towards the end of this draft. I might be okay if you get Anthony Richardson taking Joe Flacco. We saw what he could do last season when it came down the stretch in Cleveland when Deshaun Watson went down. He came in and actually balled out and was really solid for fantasy. I could see a lot of that same happening in Indianapolis, really. So that's something to keep our eye on. Now, what I'm hoping here is I don't know if you guys have been doing a lot of these, but quarterbacks get overdrafted, I would honestly say. And you don't necessarily want to get priced out of your quarterback two, but I might be doing that strategy here just because, like I said, I'm fine getting Will Levis, but we'll see. If Brock Purdy's there, I've probably just got to take him. If Brock Purdy's there, I'll just take him because that's some solid core. That's a really solid Week 17. If not, I'm going to go Bijan. Being perfectly transparent here. We're going Brock, and then if it isn't Brock, we're going Bijan. Okay, so he takes Bijan. We'll just take Brock Purdy. We'll get a quarterback too. That is fine. It's totally fine. Totally fine to get Brock Purdy. As we know, he has the Lions in Week 17, so that's another one. And plus, more so what I try to do, not necessarily, while I'm going to be attacking the Week 17 stack, because as I didn't actually get into it, Superflex, the reason that Week 17 is so important is that's the final week of this tournament, right? That's the championship week. And so you especially want to have that high ceiling in Week 17. But also, I find it very important to stay within your division as well within those correlations. So luckily, Anthony Richardson has this AFC South correlation with Will Levis. So that already works. That's Week 17 and AFC South, which then also kind of just enables me to take some swings on more Titans, more Jaguars, more Texans even, just stay within that AFC South. But then drafting Brock Purdy enables me to have that awesome 49ers Lions Week 17 game, which opens the door to more NFC North or NFC West correlation. So those are kind of my three divisions that I'm going to be staying in here. NFC North, NFC West, and AFC South. And that will probably kind of keep everything going together, whereas a lot of my players are going to play against each other, have some spike weeks here and there, and they're all attached to really solid offenses, which is going to be good enough already. So this is honestly a team build that I'm pretty happy with so far. As we keep going through, we'll see who falls to me. We have obviously this Colts build, and I mentioned that the Detroit Lions 49ers. So honestly, either Gibbs or Taylor is fine with me. I already have my quarterback too, and Will Levis will be there a little later. So I should definitely get a wide receiver or a running back here. As things stand correlation-wise, it's probably going to be one of the running backs, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is not bad as well for some of that NFC West correlation. They have a matchup against the Rams, which is another team that I think that I could attack here to go along with the 49ers. So I am fine with, honestly, I would rather have, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do Jahmyr Gibbs, Marvin Harrison, then Taylor. And yes, I have Anthony Richardson. So why wouldn't I want Jonathan Taylor? Well, I just it's a thing to me, really. At the end of the day, I just don't think that Jonathan Taylor still has the ceiling, RB1 ceiling that we've seen from him before. I really think that we've lost that from him, especially with Anthony Richardson. So yeah. Chill asks, what's the Brock Bowers trade value? You just got Ridley and Devontae Smith for him. I love that trade for you. I'm not going to lie. I think that selling Brock Bowers is not a bad move at all right now, being completely honest. I want to see it play out first, and he's already just valued so highly. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that you've probably done fine getting that. I love Devontae Smith, and Calvin Ridley is a solid player this season as well. Superflex asks, is the tournament total points for the entire season? It's like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is like you have like kind of a, not necessarily a progression thing where it's like the best winner each week goes through, but it's like a cumulative in season, and then you make it through your league, and then you go against people in the playoffs, if I remember correctly. It's something like that where you you have you play against your league mates, and I believe the top 2 teams advance into the final rounds and stuff like that. Feel free to correct me in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that's how these things work. Which is not, being pretty sure on something is not great when you're streaming it, but I'm almost positive it's kind of like that, where you kind of want to finish at the top of your league, and then you go into like a tournament style playoff with the rest of the field. But yeah, that is how I've interpreted, and that's how it went last year. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, we are coming up here in 8 picks. We now have 2 quarterbacks and a wide receiver. And again, I went with Marvin Harrison because I think that we need to start viewing Marvin Harrison a little bit higher than we are. His ADP is solid. Like, I get that we don't want to overvalue him, but there are not many other weapons on this Cardinals offense. Like, he really does have, like, I know this is a hot take. Marvin Harrison could finish as the wide receiver 1 this year as a rookie. I'm not like, I know it's bold, it's hot or whatever, but he is going to probably get, staying healthy, at least 140 targets as a rookie. And he's just such a good player. And I like the Cardinals offense a lot. I think that Marvin Harrison should at least be valued ahead of Puka Nacua and Garrett Wilson. Call me crazy, but he's got a better offense in my opinion. Doesn't have the quarterback uncertainty, and doesn't have much target competition as opposed to Puka and Garrett Wilson has for some of those boxes that'll be checked when it comes to either one of those. So I should probably pull up the draft board for you guys. Sorry. Got locked in. Here's the draft board. As you can see, quarterbacks just fly off the board in this thing. So if you are a waiter, then you are usually okay in these contests. I might get Will Levis at 43. He should be there. But there's a potential he's not. I'm going to go ahead and star him. It is, and see, this is the thing, is it's like the ADPs are so weird for quarterback. Like, yes, I would be reaching, but I also just necessarily wouldn't because so many people reach. And I know I already have 2, but that is week 17 correlation there with Will Levis. I'll probably wait. I think I will wait because there's just some really good players here. Now, I could get the Ayuk Purdy stack, but I don't necessarily want that. I actually want to get Nico Collins if he stays there for me. I doubt he does, but that'll help with my AFC South correlation. Sam Laporta is also not a bad pick, as that is 49ers Lions correlation. So I lose Nico. So hopefully D. Hay doesn't get Laporta. I think I'll go there. Brock get that that stack. I don't really want Ayuk. I know we've talked about it on this show. We don't necessarily know what's going on with him this season. And if he does get moved, then I've completely lost the correlation that would be there. But also, he's just so like to me. Like, I know he just had 1,300 yards or whatever, but that Deebo Samuel was hurt for a decent bit. They're bringing in all these new weapons. I'd rather take a chance on Sam Laporta, a guy who could probably finish as the tight end one. And that's something I've been doing a lot in these contests so far, is taking someone who could finish first in their position. Because I think it's just important to have a very high ceiling within this thing. Just kind of within each position. So if I could have the tight end one, the quarterback one, and the wide receiver one, and the running back one somehow, then that is a really good team, obviously. So I am definitely not pricing myself out on tight end and quarterback. I want a top end quarterback. I want a top end tight end every single time. I am getting Laporta, Kincaid, Pitts, McBride. I'm getting one of those 4, or Mandrews 5 every single time. And generally, I'm pairing them with Hawkinson. So I have 2 really high ceiling tight ends for flex plays later in the season. Talk Sports says, what's the benefit of AFC South correlation? It's mostly because I got Anthony Richardson. Now, I could go away from it now. Like, I could just have naked Anthony Richardson. It really is not the end of the world, especially now as I'm building kind of this Lions 49ers squad currently. But I like the AFC South correlation just because the Texans, the Jaguars, the Titans, those are just all very high-powered offenses that are going to throw the ball a ton. And that way I just have given myself, 8 games where they'll be playing against each other. But as we see, I also believe in the NFC West and the NFC North. Both of those divisions are very, very good. So I'm not making it to where I don't, or where I'll avoid anyone in a different division. But I think I'm going to at least stay within those 3 here. I don't see much of a reason to go away from that. So this is interesting. I could get Cooper Kupp. I could get Deebo Samuel, or I could just go ahead and get Will Levis or Michael Pittman to go along with Anthony Richardson. Ooh. All 3 of these have correlation. And I think I'm going to pass on Will Levis. I know I mentioned that for the Week 17 game, but I think with Brock Purdy, I just don't need that good of a quarterback 3. I should just go ahead and bet on these 2 and maybe get a cheaper quarterback 3 later, which leads me to want to get Cooper Kupp or Deebo Samuel. I need to go ahead and unstar Will Levis, and I think I'm going to go Cooper Kupp. I know that's crazy. I'm going to go Cooper Kupp, and it's just going to go off my queue. I'm fine with Cooper Kupp because I really think that Cooper Kupp has a really good season ahead of him. I really think that he could bounce back to what we know and love from Cooper Kupp. I would not be shocked if he outscored Puka Nacua genuinely. I genuinely would not be surprised. He was unhealthy last year, clearly, but he still had some really solid weeks. He was still top 10 in red zone targets, not targets per game, total red zone targets, despite missing 4 games. And that is cumulative across all wide receivers that played in 17 games, right? So it's like still seeing that much usage in the red zone is going to lead me to want to draft that player. Especially just still having Matthew Stafford and really this offense as a whole looking a little bit better. They, of course, invested in the run game to go along with Kyron, but they've helped up the offensive line as well. So I think I'm going to take a big swing on Cooper Kupp over Deebo Samuel, ruining my Purdy correlation, but that's fine. That's fine. I could potentially get George Kittle later if I want. Deebo Samuel could honestly still, never mind. Deebo Samuel won't still be there, but that's okay. Like, I'm not really that worried about it. I'll go ahead and start starring some people that might be interesting. And I really, it's these, Michael Pittman or Tank Dell. But really anything would be fine. I could go ahead and maybe get my quarterback 3 with J.J. McCarthy. As mentioned, we already have a little bit of an NFC North correlation with Sam Laporta. I like the Vikings Week 17 matchup against the Packers. And as mentioned before, also, I really do like T.J. Hawkinson. Yeah. So I think that would be fine too. So we're going to hope one of these 3 falls to us. And I think in this order, I know it's crazy to have. Okay, so J.J. McCarthy's gone. I think Tank Dell should be there unless this guy has Stroud. He doesn't. So I think Tank Dell should be there. Honestly, one of these 2 should be there. So I think we'll be okay. Or maybe I should probably just go with the correlation. Well, either way the correlation works. I think This is tough. 195 last year, 141. I'm leaning into my Tank Dell hype. I just, CJ Stroud loves Tank Dell, guys. I think that his ADP is a mistake. I really think that Tank Dell should be going in the same round as Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, but instead he's going rounds after. And so, I mean, look at this, right? We have Nico Collins in round 4 and Stephon Diggs in round in the same round. So that's okay. Yeah, Stephon Diggs has kind of corrected himself and Tank Dell has moved up a bit. But yes, I think that I think you just got to go Tank Dell there. I mean, especially in best ball, right, where you don't necessarily have to set the lineup. Tank Dell's going to have some spike weeks. We all know it. So I think that that's a nice pull right there. This is a really solid squad so far. A-Rich, Purdy, Marv, Sam Laporta, Cooper Kupp, Tank Dell. Going 0 RB, so we should hope someone comes to us. Looks like I could get Joe Mixon. Kenneth Walker would be fine for that NFC North correlation as well. So those are kind of the two that will be starring. But we're 6 picks away. And, you know, there's a lot of good players. It's looking like I'm pricing myself out of a quarterback 3, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm not really too worried about it. I feel pretty confident in A-Rich and Purdy. As mentioned, I might go ahead and get Joe Flacco at the end of it. So I might be and then I'll have to figure out a quarterback 3, but there's some decent options. Like I like Gardner Minshew at the end. I've shown in my exposure, I have a decent bit of Michael Penix. Just because, I mean, you know, Kirk Cousins is coming off the Achilles. Like, it's very possible he gets hurt, and we're looking at Michael Penix starting some games. So there's a lot of different options at quarterback at the end. Justin Fields is another good one. I think he takes over at some point. Sam Howell has a chance to take over. Drew Lock has a chance to take over. Like, it's very, very interesting. And so, yeah. By the way, I mentioned I'd be using some quarterback rankings. As we wait, I believe I am 5 picks away. So I'll go ahead and share this tab real quick, give you a little sneak peek. This is what I've been using when I go through. This is more dynasty focused, but it's still just kind of nice to because I do kind of have sort of a redraft spin. Yes, I have CJ Stroud as my quarterback 1. It is what it is. I like him. He's my guy. And as you'll see, you know, there's a lot of different discrepancies. I have Dak Prescott really far, and looks like I'm back on the clock. Quarterbacks went. So F, I guess. But it's either Joe Mixon or Kenneth Walker. And I think I'm going to bet on my guy, Kenneth Walker. I have not been able to get a lot of Kenneth Walker, and I know this might seem crazy, going with Kenneth Walker over Joe Mixon, especially given I just got a Texan. But as mentioned again, I have a little bit of this NFC North correlation, or NFC West correlation, and the Seahawks do play the Bears, which is more of that NFC North correlation. So it all plays together. And while Joe Mixon, I think, could have a great season, even on this Texans offense, a really great season, I think that we are too low on Kenneth Walker. We are not even a year removed from it, like not even a year yet. Like going into last season, like in August, he was the running back 1 in Dynasty, and we're not even there yet. He is an incredible, incredible running back. So I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine with Kenneth Walker as my RB1. I'm a big believer in him. I think he's going to have some massive weeks. So yes. Talk Sports says that I have some great wide receivers, so I could play a wide receiver in the Superflex during the bye weeks. This is true. This is true. I do have some really solid wide receivers. And I mean, like, this build in general is really strong to where I'm not too stressed about not having my quarterback 3. Like, I like that I'm kind of building out the rest of the squad here instead. But I will be eyeing Bo Nix and Drake May. In fact, Drake May over Bo Nix, just because my quarterback 3 doesn't matter as much. I will be shooting for that ceiling there. David Montgomery, Aaron Jones are solid options. Joe Mixon, obviously, is still a solid option if he ends up falling to me. Evan Ingram could be okay. These are really all things that fit within my build right now. Like this is why I love especially the San Francisco 49ers Lions stack. I love it because, again, I've mentioned that then you have NFC West, NFC North. You could even then attack the Vikings Packers, the Cardinals Rams, the Seahawks Bears. It works perfectly for those 2 divisions in week 17 that I just love it. So there's no way Joe Mixon keeps falling. There's just absolutely no way. If he does, that is the easiest draft button ever. But there's no way. Both of these guys only have 1 running back. I'm gonna hold faith, right? That's kind of the whole point here. Just like, please don't pick Joe Mixon. But it's looking like this guy is totally gonna time out and just get Joe Mixon because he timed out. Oh, Justin Fields. Oh, okay. Don't do it. Don't do it. No! 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 Okay. Now I need to ask myself a very serious question. Which running back do I prefer? Or should I just go ahead and take quarterback? And honestly, I'm just going to press the quarterback button. I know I've talked up not really worried about my quarterback 3, but I'm just going to go ahead and lock down Bo Nix and not really stress about it the rest of the draft. I feel very good in my wide receiver room, very good in my tight end room, and I know that there's going to be some running back values over the next few rounds. So I will be okay. I mean, and there might not be correlation, although I could get Swift, which could be fun. I actually don't have a ton of Swift exposure right now. I could get James Conner. I could get Trey Benson. I could get Tony Pollard. Either way, there's a decent bit of correlation in the running back department in this next round that I'm just going to go ahead and take that quarterback there up in 7 picks. I think that'll be fine. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I get sniped more than anyone in this damn game. I literally always get sniped. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Yesterday I did 2 of these because I was kind of bored and I like just doing them while doing other stuff like on my phone or whatever. And I kept like, oh, what's my 2 guys? All right, I'll go ahead and pick this guy. And then like without fail, like it was like I got sniped like 4 rounds in a row last time. It sucked. It sucked. But here we go. We have a trade question from KOA. Kai, would you trade Kendre Miller and JSN for Odunze? And I think no. I love Odunze, but I think I want to hold both Kendre Miller and JSN this season. Alvin Kamara obviously getting up there in age. So if he gets injured, Kendre Miller is going to be huge. And then JSN, it's just, it's just, I think that he has a potential to just kind of be the JSN that we've wanted him to be, right? Obviously, as pointed out in the chat here with Waldron gone, JSN should be fine. They're, of course, bringing in Ryan Grubbs as well from Washington, who just throws the ball a ton. Tyler Lockett's only getting older, right? Like, I think that JSN is someone you kind of have to hold on to in Dynasty. It's close. Like, it is, like, that's a really solid deal. Like, if you want to consolidate, I don't hate it, but I think I might hold. Yeah, honestly, the Rook, you're probably right. Like that, he might be watching and listening and just wanting. But also, he only had 1 running back, so it made sense for him to go running back there. So I don't hate him for it. I wish I could have got Mixon, but I'm fine getting Bo Nix, and looks like I'll probably take DeAndre Swift. Although, oh God, I might take D-Hop. I think I'm gonna take D-Hop. I think I have to take D-Hop because there's still so many good running backs, and I'm going to pick again. Yeah, I'm just going to see who falls. I'm pressing the D-Hop button and seeing who falls. Guys, this could really burn me. But I'm expecting either Tony Pollard or James Conner to be there when it comes back around. And if not, oh well. If not, oh well. I guess I've just completely screwed my draft if that happens. But I think, and Tyjae Spears should definitely be there. My running backs are going to be weak, but that's fine because I like this wide receiver room a ton, and I can take some handcuffs and hope I get lucky. That might come back to bite me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel great right now. But I think it's just D-Hop. You get a little bit of that correlation there with A-Rich. Get that Tennessee Titans Week 17 matchup. I'm probably going to end up with another Titan, I think. So it's okay. It's all right. We'll be okay. Yes, I like Bo Nix a lot. Roy. I know that a lot of people are expecting him to bust, but I am believing the hype that Sean Payton really did want him, and I really do think that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson is at this point in his career. Russell Wilson has lost it to me, and I think that Bo Nix is going to fit this offense well. I think them bringing in Troy Franklin is going to help him feel a lot more comfortable, but it's everything I'm reading seems like they're doing a lot of what they're doing in Oregon. They're helping make this system very similar to what he's already used to. I want to bet on Bo Nix. I do. So yeah, that's kind of where I went. I know it's crazy. I know a lot of people are down on him. But I really do want Bo Nix, and that just helps, right? Like I have my 3 quarterbacks, and I can maybe take a 4th one later if I want, but this is okay. And yes, there's still some good deep RBs. I have a lot of it all, a ton of it all. And like I said, I like Dylan Laub at the end too. I'm fine just going out and passing and getting my 4th wide receiver because it does get kind of ugly at wide receiver. Not too ugly. Like I might have just been able to get J-Mo here and been fine. Honestly, it's looking like a lot of decent wide receivers will still be there. But as expected, it's looking like there's going to be a bunch of decent running backs there too as well. So getting D-Hop, who is another player like Cooper Kupp, who I think is just a little too undervalued because of his age. I really do think that D-Hop could very easily be the wide receiver 1 for the Titans over Calvin Ridley. It's really not that far of a stretch. He just had 1,000 yards with them somehow, right? Like the Titans were so bad last year, and yet still somehow DeAndre Hopkins had 1,000 receiving yards. Like he is just so good, and I think that his value right now is just total disrespect. So I've just got to press that button. I've got to press that button. And now I believe he has become my highest drafted player in the Superflex contest because I know he was already tied, but now getting him, I believe, will put him over the top because he was tied with like Will Levis. So anyway, if DeAndre Swift continues to fall, what the hell? As I utter the words, he gets picked because I was looking and it's looking like a lot of these guys have their running back depth. But yeah, whatever, right? So we're about to be up. I'm definitely going to get a running back here. Okay, so do I want James Conner, Trey Benson, or do I want Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears? Or Jesus, I'm pressing the Tony Pollard button. I like Tony Pollard a lot, and I think I could get him and Tyjae Spears. I think, maybe not, but it's possible. But either way, again, Tony Pollard, another player that for some reason has gotten way undervalued because he was injured last season. Again, he was a top 5 dynasty running back heading into last season and was incredible. I think that especially this year on this Titans offense, that him and Tyjae Spears are both going to get a ton of receptions. I know that some people say don't double up on the running backs. I get it. I know that I want the highest week 17 ceiling. I really firmly believe that this Titans running back room is going to cycle the two. Tony Pollard one drive, Tyjae Spears the next drive, and both of them are going to have a ton of receptions. They are going to be used interchangeably, and they're both highly efficient pass-catching running backs. I want those guys. And there you go. So whatever. Whatever. There's still some solid guys. It is what it is. I could get the Javonte Bo Nix. And yes, touchdowns are keys. This is true. But I think I'll be okay. I'm not going to say a name. Hopefully Javonte Williams goes to me. Yes, I got Trey Benson. This time I just didn't say a damn thing. No, I wanted Benson. I just wanted to I wanted to lie. Because I keep getting sniped. And it worked that time. So let's go. Trey Benson is awesome. James Conner gets hurt every year, as productive as he is. And I think towards the end of the year especially, Trey Benson will have the backfield to himself. Maybe early, and I love James Conner. James Conner is going to have a lot of the backfield, but Trey Benson is such a good running back. His size, his athleticism, it's set up for him to be incredible. So honestly, I'm surprised Benson fell. I was debating him with Pollard. And that because I had been seeing Benson go before Conner in a lot of these that I've been doing. I definitely did not expect him to fall back to me, but I am ecstatic. I mean, look at this build, guys. This is a great squad. I love this team right now. Wow. Wow. Love that. So anyway, up in 5 picks now. And I could really go any way. I think I want to go ahead and maybe lock down my tight end too, but we'll see. We are honestly at this point in the draft, and this is 12 teams, Roy. This is 12 teams, but especially at this point in the draft, and I have I have my quarterback 1. I've got my running backs. I've got great wide receivers. And I have a potential tight end 1 in Sam Laporta. This is just best player available, rest of draft type of build. Like this is, I am really loving this team. I really hope Anthony Richardson stays healthy because that could be, I mean, this could be truly special. It really, really could. Yeah, so I think I'm going to get TJ Hawkinson. But D-Hay totally could. I'm not going to lie. And especially since I just said it, he probably will. And if not, that's fine. I am totally happy with a ton of other options here. Totally happy. In fact, I don't even want TJ Hawkinson. What am I talking about here? I would love to get one of Jerome Ford or Nick Chubb. I would love, actually, to get one more running back and probably just get Ezekiel Elliott. Damn it. Nick Chubb. Damn it. But yeah, I think either of these running backs would be good. Haha, I lied, D-Hay. I wanted TJ Hawkinson the whole time. Let's go. I wanted TJ Hawkinson the whole time. I did not want any of those running backs. I am fine with my running back room right now. 40 chess over here, guys. Loving it. Loving it. Yeah. TJ Hawkinson's an easy pick. This guy, especially when you have a good tight end like Sam Laporta, you don't need a tight end the first few weeks of the season. So even if he starts off slow, it is what it is. Towards the end of the year, TJ Hawkinson's gonna be TJ Hawkinson. And I have that NFC North correlation already right now, kind of. Not a ton of it, but you know, I've got it. Yes, he should be back before week 10, but even then, it doesn't matter. I have Sam Laporta. I'll be okay. Hopefully, right? Hopefully. But now looking at the board, I have no idea where I'm going to go. I have an idea. In fact, maybe I've never drafted Adonai Mitchell, and I don't care if I get sniped on him, guys. So if you're listening, any of these, genuinely, I do not care if you snipe me on Adonai Mitchell, but that I don't have any of him. If he goes, you know, it is what it is. But I think that could be fun with A-Rich just because he is, you know, that athletic, deep threat wide receiver. He could catch some touchdowns. I don't know if I feel great about it, but I'm okay with it. And actually, so, I mean, the player I probably would have gotten is Josh Palmer. I think that he's undervalued. But I think, yeah, just for funsies, right? Just for funsies. That's what this is about. I've got a pretty solid wide receiver room already. Might as well take a little bit of a correlation pick and just see what happens. In fact, I have another one I might add at the end, maybe a very special tight end, but I won't get ahead of myself here. I'm up in 11 picks. I still don't know how I feel about Adonai Mitchell. I loved him until he fell in the draft, and then that was very confusing to me because like you see that athleticism and you just thought like NFL teams would go crazy for him, and they didn't necessarily. However, you know, Alec Pierce last year ran some of the most, I think he was like number 4 in routes run last year, but was just so bad that it just didn't translate into anything. So if Adonai Mitchell can take that role, I mean, he'll at least be on the field a lot and probably better hands than Alec Pierce. So could be fun, right? Anthony Richardson has a true cannon for an arm. I had no Colts wide receiver. So, hey, we'll take a swing on him and see what happens. That's a total best ball pick. And I feel fine about it. And that's what happens when you have the luxury of the team build that I've somehow thrown together here. I really like this squad right now. And excited to see who falls back to me. I mean, this is just a great range. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much with some of the names because it seems that some people are watching. But there's some really great players available in this range. I won't even tip my hat into what position I'm eyeing here. But there are some really good players that I would be over the moon to be able to draft with this pick. And one of them was talked about at the beginning of the show when I showed off my exposures. So I think we should be good to at least get one guy I really want, which we'll see. But I've got to let Jeff and D-Hay pick before I mention it. But I do want to go ahead and look at the board. Okay, that was one of them. I will say Marshawn Lloyd was one of them. That is a really good pick. Of course, has that NFC North correlation. So whatever. Who I really wanted, though. Oh, shit. Who I really wanted was Jalen Wright. Josh Downs is a good pick, especially with that Colts correlation. But Jalen Wright is who I really wanted. He is now tied with D-Hop for my most drafted player in Superflex because, again, guys, I am expecting huge things from Jalen Wright this season, especially in best ball. These Dolphins running backs, they're going to have spike weeks. We all know it. You might as well go with the one that actually profiles as a true bell cow. Like, he has the size that the other running backs, Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, don't, while still having the speed and the explosiveness. I really love Jalen Wright. So I'm very happy to get that pick. Not much correlation there, but it doesn't really matter, right? At this point in the draft, like, obviously you still want to, take swings on some of the correlation, but you can also, at this point, you can sway from it a little bit, and it's still a good player. Yes, Josh Downs is a good player, and that is why I went, shit, but I'd already committed myself to Jalen Wright, and I already have just so good running or wide receivers, and while my running back room is good too, I just wanted Jalen Wright. I really do believe in him this season. I think he's going to have like 30 pointers, so I want him every chance I can get. So we'll see. And also, I am a big believer in Jelani Woods. And so I think that will eat into Josh Downs' usage a little bit. And it's also very possible that Josh Downs was more of a product of Gardner Minshew, as Gardner Minshew is more of that check down game manager type QB. Anthony Richardson is less scared to take some shots and is probably also more prone to lock onto a Michael Pittman. So I don't know if he's going to have that same type of usage that he did last season. Now, Vidal was who I hoped Kamani Vidal would fall to me. So that is a very good pick. Normally he falls. Normally he's available for one or two more rounds even. So good pick. I really did. That's what I was hoping to take there, but that's fine. There's a few options here. Not some great options, but some options. In fact, I might reach a little bit on someone just to do. Shit, maybe I won't reach. Should I? I don't really want Pearsall. So Troy Franklin's who I want right here. I'm not going to lie. And I'm just going to go ahead and reach. I'm going to do my first reach of the draft and take Troy Franklin. Get a little bit of that Bo Nix correlation. How big of a reach was that? 12 picks. It is what it is. I am fine reaching every once in a while. I think that Troy Franklin has just as much of a chance to be an alpha on this offense as Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims. Again, I am a firm believer in not necessarily, I guess friendship could be a way to put it, but Troy Franklin and Bo Nix, they obviously just played together in college, and they were both very good together in college. And now they're on the same NFL team with a very open wide receiver room, albeit I am taking a lot of swings on Troy Franklin. I really am. Somebody has a good point here with Chuba being a good early season target. I agree, actually. I do think that Jonathan Brooks is going to start off slow, if not even miss a couple weeks, which will open the door for Chuba Hubbard. But if he's he's gone now. I wouldn't have actually minded that pick if he was still there. I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my running back room. I was really hoping Kamani Vidal would be there. I'm not going to lie. That was going to be the pick. I was hoping to get Kamani Vidal and then Troy Franklin around later, but I'll go ahead and just lock down Troy Franklin, I guess. Right. Do I like Jaleel McLaughlin? No. I don't like any Broncos running backs right now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to let this thing play out. I do not trust Sean Payton in the running back room really at all. It's especially with even Blake Watson gaining some hype and all this stuff. I'm going to stay away. There are 31 other backfields. We don't need to attack the Denver one. It could be totally messy. I only want to take swings on Troy Franklin and Bo Nix and Marvin Mims, I guess, who I was hoping would be there as well. Because even if the Broncos suck, the quarterback and the running back and the wide receivers are going to be good for fantasy, right? Like, they're going to get a ton of volume for garbage time. And so I like taking my swings on those guys for sure. And this has disgusting written all over it, but I think I know where I'm going to go. And it's Michael Wilson. I'm going to go with Michael Wilson. He's the wide receiver 2 on the Cardinals. Why is he so cheap? I know Marvin Harrison is going to get a ton of targets. I know it. But so is Michael Wilson, right? So is Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson could have 100 targets this year. I don't care about the Zay Jones signing. I know he's solid. He's been good, but he's just been good. He's a good wide receiver 3. Plus, he's been battling a ton of health issues recently. So I think Michael Wilson is a player we need to bet on. It was over 500 yards last year, I believe. as a rookie on a bad Cardinals offense, really. Like, they weren't that great last season, especially in the pass game. Like, no one was really hitting. So I think Michael Wilson, really solid pick at his ADP right now. And especially for this build, I already got Marvin Harrison. Might as well get Michael Wilson. Feeling good. Look at this team. Tyler Canable, I wish you were watching this one. I hope you are. You might be. Let me know if you are in the chat, because I think that this is a true sight to behold. Anthony Richardson, Brock Purdy, Bo Nix, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Marv, Kupp, Dell, D-Hop, Mitchell, Franklin, Wilson, Laporta, Hawkinson. Whew! I'm getting hot over here. What a team. Oh, my God. This might legit. I know I put it on the thumbnail, 30K winner. This might legit be like, this is a freaking awesome squad. If Anthony Richardson pans out, like, this is honestly a winner. But that is a big if. It is a huge if. God, I don't know where to go next. I really don't. I might take a swing on QB4. Maybe. I like my team right now. I like my team right now. So there's a lot of players I actually really like in this range. What I'm going to do is press the Dameon Pierce button. I don't feel great about it. But that'll help a little bit with the AFC South correlation. And plus, we skipped Joe Mixon earlier in this draft. So with that being said, we might as well just lean into that and say if we passed on Joe Mixon, we're not totally 100% on Joe Mixon, although I kind of do really like Joe Mixon. I just also really like Kenneth Walker. But with him being older, he could get hurt, leaving the door for Dameon Pierce to kind of be like he was in his rookie season. We'll see. I don't feel great about it. It was between him or Michael Penix or Pop Douglas or Javon Baker, who's still available. But who goes, of course. But I think this is fine. We'll just take one little handcuff running back swing. It's interesting. Like, you just don't need all these wide receivers, right? You just don't, because there's only two. They replaced one of the third wide receiver with Superflex, so it's just 2 running back, 2 wide receiver. So I just say, at this point, some of these handcuff running backs, they have some high ceiling as well, so we're okay. And then there is a player. I think I know who I want next. I think. How many more rounds do we have? 18. So I think 3 more rounds. 18, 19, 20. Yeah. So there's a couple good picks here. I think I know my order. There are 3 picks I want. Or really a few, honestly. A few. So if I get sniped on any, I'm feeling good. This is a fun range. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, I am probably not going to draft Ryan Flournoy in this build. I love Ryan Flournoy. I do. But there's not really any correlation for him to fit here. So I'm not really going to worry about it. As much as I like Ryan Flournoy in this contest, especially the Superflex one, I have not really been able to fit him into my team builds as much, mostly because I don't really like Dak Prescott. But I do have him whenever I've been drafting my Eagles teams. I am starting to really lean into correlation when I do these drafts, and Ryan Flournoy is hard to get correlation with, and even if he pops off, like I just think that in this range there's some correlating guys that I like similarly that I'm okay passing on him. Unfortunately, but we'll see. There's a guy I want here. Obviously not showing it really at all in my queue because I've been sniped too much in this stream. I've learned my lesson. I have. So D Hay, go ahead. Hopefully you don't take my guy. If you do, cheers to you, right? At least this time I didn't tip my cap. If you do take him. He did not. So yeah, Jelani Woods season, boys. It is Jelani Woods season. Jelani Woods, get that Anthony Richardson correlation. And of course, I just believe in him. The Colts tight ends last year, it was just a weird amalgamation of dudes. Eventually, someone is going to take that number 1 spot, and I'm going to bet on the super athletic 6'7", 250-pound, runs a 4.4 40-yard dash, Jelani Woods, or it might just be a 4.5. But either way, fast for a tight end, especially at his stature. We saw over 800 yards and 11 touchdowns to the Colts tight ends cumulatively last season. I think that very easily Jelani Woods could be the alpha tight end in the room. And even with me having good tight ends, in fact, great tight ends, he could still flex every once in a while. And, with TJ Hawkinson not being, totally 100%, I might as well take a swing on a third tight end, especially one that has the correlation like Jelani Woods. So I like him a lot. And there's another couple players coming up here that also have some correlation that I like a lot for best ball. So hopefully I get them. It looks like I'm not going to get a QB4. I don't think I am. I think I'm going to bet on A-Rich, Brock Purdy, Bo Nix, and leave it like that. Just because, our Joe Flacco got drafted. So, I'm kind of screwed there. I don't really want – I could, right? Like, I could get Josh Dobbs if I wanted to. But I don't think I do. I don't think I do. But with me having D-Hop, there's someone I want. But also with me having Tank Dell, there's someone I want too. God. I'll wait. I kind of want... Oh, Tyler Boyd went. Tyler Boyd was one of those. So I think I probably, if this person was tuning in, I kind of did say with me having D-Hop, I want someone here. So that's definitely possible. But yeah, I kind of wanted Tyler Boyd. I think that he's got a really solid year in him. But I'll also just take as much Devontae Walker as I can get. I really love Tez Walker this year. The Ravens' deep threat is always relevant for fantasy, always. And especially in best ball, I'll take that swing every time I can. So I'll add that there. And, of course, has that Week 17 correlation with the Texans. It's a really solid matchup. He could score a touchdown, get on my roster, be good. So, yeah. I don't know who I'm probably going to go running back with my last pick. Just because I don't feel great about my running back room as I do my wide receiver room. I feel good about my tight ends now, and I don't think I'm going to take a quarterback swing. So I think I'm probably going to get another running back to end this thing. You guys probably know where I'm going with that, but I might take a swing on a different running back. Either way, there's two guys, Isaac Guerrero, Dylan Lau, but that I'll be eyeing. We'll see. I tipped my cap. I've set it now, so they might not be there. But those are probably the two I'd be looking at. Guerrero for my 49ers correlation and Loud just because I like him. But I guess you'd correlate with the Broncos a little bit, my Bo Nix, Troy Franklin stack. Greg Dulcich is a solid pick. I like him. Everyone's going tight end here, so I'm glad I locked down my Jelani. Yeah. This is a fun squad. It's a good team. I'm going to go to bed dreaming about this team. Will Shipley's a good pick. Audric Estime is a good pick. These rookie running backs, they're solid their rookie seasons usually, especially if an injury falls their way. So I really like taking swings on them at this point. By the way, I guess while we wait, I'll go ahead and share this with you guys. If you go to our Instagram, I did put some of my best and worst Week 17 stacks that I have been targeting. Again, my favorite one is Lions-Niners because it combines with Cardinals-Rams, Packers-Vikings, and even Bears-Seahawks if you want to challenge that game as well. But either way, go to our Instagram. I think you can find it on my Twitter as well. I've posted this. I think it's a nice little reference, and it's funny. I have the Colts in red, and I've made a little bit of a Colts team. But, the Giants could still fall apart. The reason I made it red is just because the Giants have a solid enough defense and they're just stingy. But yeah, I think that they're probably fine. OG1, that's a good name. It just clicked. OG1 Kenobi has a good pick for me. You can go. Yeah, that's fun. Well, maybe I'll just go with your pick. Yeah, I'm looking at RB here. I really am. I think I want to end this draft with a running back. There goes Laub. So whatever. I think Franz, you're listening to this. I know you are. You're normally in our chat here. So whatever. Go ahead, take Laub. You get a pass just because I know you're in Player Profiler and all that fun stuff. So I know we've been hyping up Laub enough. You get a pass. You get a pass. It is what it is. So it's looking like we'll see. I'm probably not going to get him. Jeffy, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say his name again. If you were listening a few minutes ago, though, you might know who I was going to pick. And I hope OG1 Kenobi has the same guy in mind. Odell. So I don't think D. Hay is going to get a running back. So I'm thinking Isaac Garendo, but you've got 30 seconds to type your name, OG1 Kenobi. I'm thinking Garendo. Cody Schrader, I guess, could be interesting as well. But I'm going to go and cue Garendo. I'll let you type your chat who you were thinking. I guess Evan Hull's a fun one. That might be who you were thinking. That could be fun, too, as a pass catcher. And Trey Sermon as well. Rasheen Ali. Oh, fuck. I'm just going to go Garendo. Sorry. I think I'm too far away from him. But I do like that one. That's a creative one. Get that Ravens going. Not bad. But yeah, I'm just going to go Garendo. I like Garendo. I think he's good. I think he's solid this year. So that should do it. That's my draft, I believe. I think that was my last pick, right? Yeah. There we go. A-Rich, Brock Purdy, Bo Nix, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Damian Pierce, Isaac Garendo, Marvin Harrison, Cooper Kupp, Tank Dell, D-Hop, Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin, Michael Wilson, Tez Walker, Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, Jelani Woods. That is a very beautiful squad. If I've ever seen one, would not have happened without you guys. So thanks for all your help tuning in. Let's see how this draft closes out. Who will be Mr. Irrelevant in this Underdog draft? Got Colby Parkinson going 238. JML really thinking about his pick here. Really thinking. Jalen Hyatt, not bad. I like the deep threats at the end of these things, right? I mean, at any week, they could score a touchdown, and you don't have to worry about it, right? This is not a managed league, just good old best ball. So, Jaliu, how will this draft close? Is it Ryan Flournoy? Is it Cody Schrader? Is it Theo Johnson? No, Theo Johnson's been picked. Sorry. Is it Daniel Bellinger? It will be A.T. Perry was the final pick of the draft. So that was a very fun one. That was a very fun draft. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Seriously, that was a good one. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. We'll be doing our regularly scheduled programming, talking about whatever's going on. NFL news. Maybe we'll actually dive into my rankings since I did a terrible job talking about those in today's episode, even though I kind of planned on it. And yeah, that was very fun. Thanks again for tuning in. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And go ahead and find the Wake and Take podcast via the link in the description. And go ahead and follow me on social media at JFootballWine. You guys have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful rest of your week. Peace.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.